It all begins very ordinarily. 8 old friends gather for dinner. They laugh, drink wine, and discuss gossip. But behind this facade of friendliness lie old grudges, unspoken grievances, and tons of awkwardness. The main character, Emme, a talented dancer whose career did not go according to plan, feels like an outsider here. She is that very person who always almost achieved success but ultimately remained in the shadows. It is through her perception that we begin to feel reality around us starting to crack. Miller's comet is passing over Earth. The news warns of possible interference, but no one takes it seriously. The first warning sign is the shattered screen of Emme's phone. It is a minor detail, but it serves as a metaphor. The hero's accustomed world has just cracked. When the power suddenly goes out in the house, the atmosphere changes instantly. This is not just a blown fuse. It is the moment when a group of people finds themselves cut off from the entire world. The whole neighborhood plunges into darkness, and only one house in the distance continues to glow. Emme recalls a story about another comet in 1923, when residents of a Finnish village lost touch with reality. People would walk into their homes and find strangers there who claimed to live there. This story sets the tone for the entire film. We understand that the heroes have encountered not a natural phenomenon, but something that breaks the laws of physics and human logic. When Amir and Hugh decide to go to that very glowing house to ask to use the phone, they do not yet know that they are crossing the line. They return with a box, inside which they find their own photographs with mysterious numbers on the back. Paranoia begins to flood the room. Kevin, Miller, Laurie, and the others realize exactly the same people live in that house, or even more terrifying, they themselves. In this chapter, we see the beginning of the destruction of personality. As soon as the usual rules of the game are canceled, the heroes cease to be friends. They turn into frightened animals trapped in a cage. We are analyzing not just the plot, but how quickly social masks slip from faces when the very uniqueness of yourself is called into question. If there is another Emme out there, then who is sitting here? When Amir and Hugh bring a box of photographs from the darkness, the cozy dinner finally turns into a psychological thriller. Inside are snapshots of everyone present, marked with numbers. This is the moment the heroes realize they are not just being watched, they are being inventoried. We begin to analyze the technology of this nightmare, the phenomenon of quantum superposition. As one of the characters says, while the comet flies over them, all possible realities exist simultaneously. The house is a box, and they are Schrodinger's cats who are simultaneously alive and dead, faithful and betrayed. To somehow cling to reality, the group devises a system of markers. They choose a random glow stick color blue and roll a die to create a unique code for their house. But this is where we see the first serious crack in their relationships. It turns out that the other house is not just a copy. It is a version where events could have gone differently. Psychological pressure begins to open old wounds. Miller begins to act aggressively, suggesting they go to the other house and settle things with the doubles. This is a classic reaction to fear, to attack first someone who looks exactly like you. In this chapter, we analyze how characters react to the loss of their uniqueness. In a world where a million versions of you exist, your problems, your achievements, and even your love are devalued. Emme notices that the other Kevin already has a different phone or different relationships. This scares her more than the comet itself. Personality begins to disintegrate because it is no longer tied to a single line of fate. We lead the viewer to the thought that in this quantum mess, the real enemy is not the double from the darkness, but the one who stands right in front of you, smiling and calling you by name. The situation in the house is heating up to the limit. The group realizes they are no longer the same 8 friends who sat down at the table a couple of hours ago. Constant outings have led to the participants becoming mixed up. Someone came from a reality where dinner was calmer, and someone from a world where blood has already been spilled. We see Emme begin to look at Kevin with suspicion. He seems to be the same person, but some small detail in his behavior or words makes her doubt. This is the beginning of the end, when closeness is replaced by the analysis of evidence. The main catalyst for discord is Miller. His aggression and paranoia are fueled by alcohol and the fear of losing control. In this chapter, old grudges and secrets surface. We analyze this as a psychological explosion. When reality is unstable, people grab onto their most primitive instincts: jealousy, anger, and a thirst for power. The heroes try to use the book, but it only multiplies the chaos. They begin to blame themselves for what the other me did. The line between self and double is blurred. If your double is a villain, does it mean you are capable of the same thing at any moment? Emme undergoes an internal transformation. She stops being a passive observer. Seeing the others fall into hysteria, she realizes that to survive, she needs to separate herself from this group. She methodically collects information, noticing colors of glow sticks and random phrases. The climax of the chapter is when they find a note written in the handwriting of one of them, but no one admits to it. This is the final collapse of trust. We lead the viewer to the key thought. The comet only created the conditions, but the people destroyed everything themselves. The social contract is terminated. When the atmosphere in the house becomes unbearable, Emme makes a fatal decision. Instead of trying to fix what is broken, she decides to find the ideal version of her life. She goes out into the darkness, making a transition that we analyze as a final break with her own identity. Finally, she finds a house where everyone is happy. At this moment, the key destruction of personality occurs. The heroine no longer wants to be herself. She wants to take the place of that other version who did better. This moment is the most terrifying in the entire film. It is not self-defense. It is pure, cold-blooded predation. To get into this paradise, Emme must eliminate the obstacle herself. We see the scene in the bathroom where she attacks her copy. It is the highest point of the metaphor of the struggle with oneself. She hides the body in the trunk, attempting to literally cut out a piece of someone else's reality and insert herself there. We analyze this as complete moral bankruptcy. She returns to the guests, smiles, and tries to act as if nothing happened. But you cannot simply steal someone else's life without destroying the remains of your own soul. The morning after the comet seems deceptively calm. Emme wakes up in the ideal house, confident that her crime remained in the darkness of the previous evening. She has breakfast with Kevin and almost believes that this is now her life. But the reality she tried to hack strikes back. A second Emme is found outside, the one she tried to eliminate. The quantum superposition has collapsed, and now two versions of the same person physically exist in one reality. The final call to Kevin's phone is the moment of truth. When he answers and hears the voice of the real Emme, who has been in this house the whole time, his gaze on the heroine changes forever. We see fear and realization. Before him sits a monster, an invader who stole the face of his beloved. The destruction of personality is complete. Emme has not just lost herself. She has become a parasite trapped in a world where she will never be trusted. For me, the film Coherence is not about astronomy, but about how little we know about the people we sit at the same table with. Director James Ward Biockett showed that to turn a civilized person into an animal, you don't need aliens, you just need to turn off the light and give a hint that you can be replaced. The most terrifying thing here is that Emme does not repent in the end. She is only scared that she was caught. This movie hits hard because it makes you ask yourself, what would I do if I saw a version of my life that was better than the current one? We like to think we are unique, but this film proves that our personality is just a set of random choices that can crumble from the slightest push from space. Thank you so much for watching this analysis to the end. I hope that now the film Coherence has revealed itself to you from a new, even more frightening side. If you like such deep dives into psychology and the destruction of personality, be sure to subscribe to the Story Arc Cinema channel. See you in the next videos. Take care of yourself and your mind. Bye.